Hello, trading is closed on August 26, 2020. Let's do our disclaimer. There it is. Standard stuff. Look for the pattern with the early high. This is it. Tomorrow has the early low. Look for higher prices, and that's it. Here's what we said. Broken through major resistance, higher prices lie ahead, even if we don't go there in a straight line. It's some rally, but it left behind the MEJT target that ultimately 34.48.76 and probably lower will print. Now, ultimate targets usually don't wait too long to print, but there is no time requirement. And if it doesn't print tomorrow, or even the day after tomorrow, it doesn't mean anything. I get, on average, maybe one failed ultimate target every 2 or 3 years, but they can stay outstanding for some time. So just keep this in mind. If we drop, there'll be support under that level, but it isn't a call that we drop tomorrow. Doesn't mean we won't, it just says the time can't be ascertained from the system. Had a few calls today in the afternoon that said ultimately we'd see higher prices, said this drop was false, wouldn't stick, said this rally was false and wouldn't stick, and that's all played out. In the morning we got an ultimate sell signal with this target, but also an optional higher target. We got the optional higher target. The ultimate sell remains outstanding. Well, this is the monthly chart of the SPY, of the SPX. If you look at it, you'll see just trading beyond the Bollinger Band isn't a perfect timing mechanism. It can stay there, it can ride the waves, but in general, it's not the place from which one expects to launch a huge rally with staying power. Doesn't mean we drop tomorrow. Doesn't even mean we drop next week or next month. But this is an area where historically prices have been extended. Now it can stay extended for a few months, but eventually what happens is you come down to the lower Bollinger Band, and of course that's a moving target. Well, for those who like monthly charts, this is again fan line from the 2007 high. It identified the high earlier this year. Now we've come right back to that fan line. The rule is you gap over it or the line wins, and we can't gap over it because it's a monthly chart. So the rallies to continue here, what you'd like to do is piddle around until the end of the month and then gap over it. It's gone through a bunch of resistance areas before. I can't say it won't go through this. Just be aware that in addition to the Bollinger Band, there's Yan fan resistance. No matter how high we climb, the man upstairs lets me find some kind of wave count which explains the drop, which I'm not calling for. But I'm not saying we won't, because if we do drop from here, you've got some pretty good fibs right at the high. One thing that concerns me about the rally, and I think it's a pretty strong rally in a pretty strong market, is that we rallied all day and couldn't close over the midday high. In fact, we couldn't close over any of these highs. Now, it's a negative pattern as far as tomorrow's concerned, but it's easy to invalidate that by gapping and taking out this high fast. But if we don't, this high holds. I'm not saying it will or it won't. If the high holds, this is not off the table. Before I give my summation of what I think will happen, I'm almost through working on the materials for the MEJT webinar. I'm thinking of holding it sometime on Sunday, September 13th. I'll be done before then, but I want to hold it on the weekend and don't want to hold it over the Labor Day holiday in the U.S. Thinking of charging $57. The target audience for the webinar is people who've read the book and still aren't applying the system profitably. If you haven't read the book, I would read the book first. If you're already doing just fine, don't want to spend the money, I can't really argue with you. Okay. Thursday's pattern has the early low. We could gap up. We gapped up, rallied all day, closed under the midday high. Unless we gap and promptly overtake today's high, we should see lower prices at some time tomorrow. Doesn't assure a lower close. Someone told me once the market likes to stall at square numbers. Today's high is 59 squared. How much money I bet on this, I don't know, but that's where we stopped. There is strong resistance for monthly Bollinger Bands, the monthly Gann fan, and the wave count. Sentiment indicators remain at levels which should make bulls feel uncomfortable. But while there may be lower prices tomorrow if today's high holds, it would take a clear reversal, much clearer than I've seen, to convince me that this was the top. If we turn around from here, I can explain it, but I'm not predicting that. I'm just doing this a day at a time, and if this holds early, we should see lower prices, and the pattern has the early low. And that's today's call.